Are we good? All right. Yeah, so we're going to replace the sodium vapor street lights in the town of Shelburne with LEDs. And the question is, what kind of LEDs and how do we go about doing that? And a lot of LED street lights put out a lot of glare. A lot of them have such a broad illumination pattern that the light trespasses beyond the street and the sidewalk into the yards, into the houses, into the windows. The photo on the left is on Church Street under a 30-watt LED light. The one to the right of that is the house right across from the library, from the post office. 30-watt LED light. And the one on the right is on Water Street, and that is so lit up because there's a shield on that light. And the shield is protecting the property to the right of the light, but in the process it's reflecting the light back onto the house that's behind the light. So, can we do better than this? Can we find lights that just illuminate the street and the sidewalks? Maybe save extra energy over 30-watt lights? Maybe have an illumination pattern that spreads along the street, but not into the yards and against the houses. All right, so that's the last of the pretty pictures. Now it's all about the report that we submitted to the select board and to the finance committee. And I'm afraid you're going to be seeing a number of slides with text on them. Suck it up. I'll try to go through them as fast as I possibly can.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. All right, so the goals of the Energy Committee. A, will provide the town taxpayers with significantly greater long-term savings following an initial implementation cost for the kind of streetlights that we think we might go for. B, will engage a well-vetted expert in streetlight lighting or illumination or fixtures to provide a cost-optimized solution. C, consider safety. Consider traffic patterns. Consider neighborhood life and impacts to residents' property and health, all of which contribute to the charm of our town. What are other towns doing about streetlights? Many towns in Massachusetts have decided to acquire ownership of the streetlight fixtures from Eversource or from National Grid. Buckland is one, Athol's another, Irving's another, Hadley's another, Sunderland's another, Greenfield is another. And they've chosen to buy their own streetlights when converting to LEDs. We set out to answer why this is a prevailing option in our state. And there are over 100 towns in Massachusetts that have done this. Why are they doing it? Eversource offered an option to the select board back, I think, well, on the order of a year ago. I don't remember the exact date. And once installed, Eversource was going to install these lights for free, no charge. Sounded wonderful. And the cost of operating the street lights would go down. Presently, with the sodium vapor lights, the town is paying Eversource on the order of $15,000 a year for electricity and delivery and so on. If we accept the Eversource offer, that cost will go down in present day dollars from about $15,000 a year to about $10,000 a year. So it's a savings of about $5,000 a year. A good deal. It's also greatly reducing the amount of kilowatt hours required to light these lights, and therefore it lowers the carbon footprint of the town. That's all very good. And the select board at the time that this offer was made thought, yeah, this is a good idea. And so they said, why don't we go with the Eversource offer? And then Eversource put up some 51 watt LED light fixtures on Main Street. We in the Energy Committee were asked to have a look at them. We had a look at them, and we said, man, that's a really bright glare. Can we kind of dim these down a bit? So then they put up 36 watt lights on Church Street, and we went and looked at those, and gosh, can't you do anything less than 36 watts? And Eversource said, yeah, we can do 30 watts, and they put 30 watts on Water Street, and they said, that's it, take it or leave it. And so we, the Energy Committee, actually voted at that time, if that's our only choice, okay, I guess that's what we go with. It reduces our kilowatt hours and so on. But then we got to thinking, isn't there a better way to do this? And we found out about Pepperell, Massachusetts, this town out near Boston, near the New Hampshire border. And we read about it, and they had converted over, first of all, they had acquired ownership of the lights. They had acquired street lights that are much, much warmer in color. Instead of a bright white, they're a yellowish color, not unlike the sodium vapor lights that we have today. And thirdly, they could dim their lights. And they were dimming their lights at 50% of the total wattage until midnight, and then they dimmed them down to 30% of the total wattage. And they kept it at 30% from midnight to 5 a.m., and then brought it back up to 50%. So they're saving so much energy by going with the dimmable LEDs. They're warmer LEDs. Kate and I took a drive out to have a look at it. And indeed, they're warmer. But, you know, there's still a glare. But the glare isn't as bad as what we're seeing with the Eversource light. And LED lights glare. But there are light designs that are doing much, much better. There's state-of-the-art LED lights today that have the lens array that focuses the light strictly on the roadway and the sidewalks. And yes, it glares if you're looking right at it from out in the street. But if you're in your yard looking at it, you don't see that glare. At any rate, it's understandable why the select board was going for the Eversource offer. They have so much on their plate. They have so many things to worry about. You know, the school budget, the maintenance, road maintenance, everything. They have a lot to worry about. They didn't give much thought to the LED lights because, hey, it's a free offer. Why not take it? And we'd save $5,000 a year in the process. What are, yeah, okay. That's my next to the last picture in this presentation. That's Northampton. Both of those photographs are of the exact same scene. The one on the left is with the sodium vapor light. The one on the right is with a 30 watt, 3000 Kelvin LED light. We've got to be thinking about this. I hope that the people that run our town are thinking about this. All right, so we recommend that the town of Shelburne, like more than 100 other municipalities in Massachusetts have done, acquire ownership of our streetlights from Eversource. That would cost $14,000.
That's a one-time?
That's a one-time purchase.
That includes poles and lights?
We do not pay for poles. Poles are not part of this business. When towns purchase the streetlights, they are purchasing the fixture and the arm that supports that fixture only.
And then Eversource would be responsible for the pole?
Yes, because those poles still have power lines on them. There's still the internet lines on them. Yeah. Hire a reputable lighting consulting company to provide us with a comprehensive evaluation of the lighting needs in our present streetlight locations selection of the most efficient, state-of-the-art, dimmable LED lights that are appropriate for those locations, as well as installation and subsequent maintenance and repair. These companies are out there. We on the Energy Committee are not experts on LED lights. We are not the ones who should be saying, yes, we want, AEL Autobahn lights, or we want General Electric lights, or we want Cree lights. We need an expert in municipal lighting to tell us what we need. We would likely opt for LED lights between 27, okay, so Kelvin temperature. Are you all familiar with this concept of Kelvin temperature? Okay. So Kelvin temperature is basically an expression of how bright white or blue the light is versus a warmer color approaching yellow. 3000 Kelvin is right about on that boundary between going yellow and going white. 4000 Kelvin lights are really bright, and 5000, forget it. We would like to see, based on what we have seen with the 3000 Kelvin lights that we presently have on display in Shelburne Falls, we would like to see something a little bit warmer in color. Not necessarily as yellow as the sodium vapor lights we have, but a little bit warmer. 2700 Kelvin would get us in between. 2200 Kelvin would bring us down very close to the sodium vapor color. Yeah, John.
Tom, in that previous picture in Northampton, do you know the Kelvin on the right hand?
That was a 3000 Kelvin.
That was
30 watt, 3000 Kelvin.
I can see it 4,000.
And there are places for 4000 Kelvin maybe, you know, in a school parking lot or in an industrial park, but not in most places. Yeah. Yeah.
Who is in charge of dimming the lights, and how? Let's say you have a street light outside your house and it's too bright and you would like it dimmed.
You call whoever.
Tom, could you repeat that question?
Okay, yeah. The question was, okay, if we have dimmable lights, who would be tasked with doing that dimming? I have a light out in front of my house. I want it dimmed down a little bit more than it is. Who do I call? Okay, yeah. Who is that man? Yeah, yeah.
Pelican Man?
The Maytag repairman.
Yeah. All right. Well, so, the town would have to decide who is going to be that person. Is that a big job? No, that's not a big job. You call the person. Is it Terry? Well, Terry is Terry Narkowitz. She's our town administrator. She's very busy. She's got a lot on her plate. In Hadley, it turns out to be the tax collector that gets called. In Greenfield, they have a maintenance department. They're a bigger, of course, much bigger outfit. Yes.
Just wanted to clarify. So are you saying that a single homeowner could call and have that particular light dimmed?
In Hadley, that has happened. But not necessarily. And look, we're not at this point saying we want individually dimmable lights. We're saying maybe that we have lights that automatically dim from midnight to 5 a.m. But we're not even saying that really. We're saying let the lighting expert tell us what the options are and what does it reflect in terms of savings, and what does it reflect in terms of manpower that's required to deal with it. All right. Some budget comparisons, and I know you all love data, so I'm going to spend just the first column, present day, we're dealing with the high pressure sodium lights from Eversource. We have 99 lights in our town. They're expending 40,700 kilowatt hours. The supply and delivery cost in 2022 was $5,700. The annual rental or maintenance cost was $93. They call it, Eversource calls it a rental fee. They don't call it a maintenance fee. They call it a rental fee. That's $9,300 for a total of about $15,000 that was spent in 2022 for our streetlights. Eversource is proposing now to put 30-watt LED lights everywhere in the town, throughout. And there would be a nice savings. There would be $5,300, bottom line, second column, $5,347 a year saved over what we're presently paying. One LED consultant that we dealt with, a street lighting consultant that we dealt with, you see that they're proposing quote-unquote 25-watt LED lights, but it's not, excuse me, it's not everywhere. The sodium vapor lights that are in our town right now are of lower wattage in the residential area. They're of higher wattage in the commercial area. And while Eversource is proposing to put in 30-watt LEDs everywhere, the consultant was proposing, all right, we'll put in 25-watt LEDs where we presently have 70-watt sodium vapor lights. But in those places where we presently have higher wattage sodium vapor lights, yeah, we'll put in slightly higher wattage LED lights too. Some places need more light than other places. So why try to do everything with one single light type? So that's why that 25-watt LED has slightly higher kilowatt hours, and the savings still are about $10,500 per year compared to what we're presently paying of $15,000. If we have dimmable LEDs, and again, these need not be individually dimmable, but a wholesale dimmable between certain hours of the day, we can save on the order of $11,000. It would cost the annual bill would be close to $3,930. Let's call it $4,000 a year. Right? The LED lights, $9,700, or close to $10,000 a year. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, earlier you said to buy the fixtures, it would cost us $14,000. So you're saying that either one of these two consultants would be recouping that money within about a year and a half.
Okay, examples of energy consulting companies. Real Term Energy is a company that's actually based in Quebec, but they have their U.S. office is based in Annapolis, Maryland, and they have an office in Boston or just outside of Boston. We've communicated with them a lot, and they influenced us a lot. They are the ones that did the job in Pepperell that has the warm yellowish lights. Real Term Energy has also done the work for Hadley. They've done the work for a number of other towns. 350 small to mid-sized municipalities across the U.S. and Canada. The last time we made a presentation to the select board, or maybe I can't remember which presentation it was, but Terry Narkowitz was a little concerned that we were only talking to Real Term Energy, and shouldn't we be thinking about other companies as well? And she was right, we should. And so another company that we have talked to is Tanco Lighting. Tanco Lighting has dealt with many municipalities in Massachusetts. They're based in Seattle, but they have offices in North Carolina. At any rate, and they have also, I think Tanco Lighting did the lights in Irving, and I forget what other towns, but they've done a lot in Massachusetts. Oh, it says it right there?
Yeah, Drake, Webster, Irving, Palmer.
Did you write this?
No, I read it.
Thank you. What do these companies do? The first thing they do is a comprehensive, so-called, what they call an investment grade audit of our present streetlight configuration, which entails on the order of 30 measurements at each light location. The present wattage, quantified illumination pattern, that is, they take a illumination meter and they go from this side of the light to that side of the light, from this side of the sidewalk to that side. They do a whole network of measurements of the lights of that particular location. They measure the fixture height above the roadway, the width of the roadway and the adjacent tile, the tilt of the pole, length of the cobra head, et cetera, et cetera. They get to know exactly what lights we have where. Based on that, they recommend light fixtures, LED light fixtures for each location after consultation with our residents. There's then, they undertake the acquisition of the fixtures and their installation. And then we have the option to go with that company to do the maintenance and repair of the lights. And the way they do that is they don't send someone in from Seattle or send someone in from Boston. They hire, they subcontract a local qualified electrician with a lift truck that can do that maintenance work. One of the companies has provided us with a cost estimate for all of this. The audit, the selection of light fixtures, the acquisition of the light, the installation, blah, blah, purchase from Eversource, the whole thing adding up to $55,000. Where do we find $55,000 to get to where we want to be? Mr. LaPierre, do you have that money for us?
I think I do.
Good. Yeah. All right. You know, we can think of three possibilities. One is the town has stabilization funds. One option is to consider using these funds, which are used to fund necessary capital items. Recognizing that if a project indeed costs $55,000, our projected $11,000 per year savings on our light bill would pay back the fund in 5 years. This would need to be placed on a warrant and passed at a town meeting. Secondly, we can apply for grants to cover the cost. Shelburne is a green community and is eligible to apply for 2 green communities grants. The first is a so-called META grant, which is a municipal energy technical assistance program, in which we could ask for the money for that investment grade audit. The one company that is quoting $55,000 says the investment grade audit would cost $9,100. So, and we can get that information from the other company as well, and some other companies. We're not restricted to just 2. We can go out with an RFP and find out more. But we can apply for a META grant this fall and hear the outcome in the spring. I have talked to the regional coordinator for green communities. He's sounding very, very optimistic about our possibilities of getting not only the META grant, but then the subsequent green communities grant that we would apply for in the spring of 2024, which would cover the rest of the $55,000. Now, we wouldn't get that money until, you know, the fall of 2024, and so we're looking at, you know, the lights finally getting put in sometime probably in mid-2025. That's the sort of time frame that we'd be dealing with.
In the meantime, we have the sodium vapor lights still.
Yes, and Eversource is, as any sodium vapor light conks out, it's my understanding that they are now replacing them with 30-watt LEDs.
Yes, they are. We know that.
There's finally, there's a tax-exempt lease purchase agreement that these companies offer They like to offer it because with the interest rates now on loans up around 5 or 6%, they can make some serious money off these loans. But it is a way that, you know, we can get the money up front right away through the lease loan process. And at the end, if say we have a 7-year lease with them, at the end of that 7-year lease, we own the lights. They no longer have ownership. All right, so that's all good. Why don't we take Eversource's offer initially and then pursue a preferable system later? After all, we can save $5,000 a year right off the bat. The selling point is that we can save $5,000 a year right off the bat. However, the cost of acquiring ownership of the lights then would probably go up significantly over the present cost of $14,000. Suddenly, Eversource would want to be reimbursed for what they paid to buy those 30-watt LED lights. And secondly, they'd probably want to be reimbursed for the labor that went into replacing the sodium vapor lights with their 30-watt LED lights. In addition, pursuing this option would undermine our ability to seek funding from green communities or from some other source, because with the Eversource lights in, we would already have saved a lot on kilowatt hours. For us to convince a funding agency to now give us money to replace them with other LED lights that are about the same in kilowatt hours, it wouldn't work. Okay. So it's not a good way to go. Thus, we may be stuck with the undesirable Eversource lights and miss out on the additional $6,000 per year discussed earlier. Future maintenance of light. Who's going to take care of these things? Well, I mentioned that if we went with Real-Term Energy or with Kanko Lighting or a comparable company, that they would do it. Their charge, $2 per light per month for a grand total annual maintenance cost of about $2,400 for our 99 lights. That's a bit less than Eversource's rental fee of $8,280. Some towns opt out of such maintenance contracts after a year or two and have worked successfully with a local qualified technician with a lift truck and saved even more on maintenance. After all, these LED lights are not unlike the LED lights that you have put into your home. They don't burn out very frequently. The maintenance on these is really minuscule. Greenfield, Massachusetts has more than 1,100 streetlights, 10 times as many lights as we have in Shelburne. Carol Collins there says they replaced their sodium vapor lights with LEDs about 10 years ago. And here is her comment on maintenance. Maintenance transitioned to our central maintenance department with the ending of the warranty, but I would say we're spending less than $2,000 to $3,000 per year on labor for replacements, and possibly less some years. When they had sodium vapor lights, they were paying $25,000 to $30,000 annually for maintenance and repair. So here we are with a town with 10 times more lights than we have, and they're paying $2,000 to $3,000 a year. And we've been told by the Real-Term Energy and Kanko Lighting that they will take care of us for $2,400 a year. Gosh, maybe we can get away with 1/10 that amount and be paying really about $200 or $300 a year for our 99 lights versus the 1,100 lights. Yes, Kate.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer up that Carol Collins is the director of the Energy and Sustainability Department in Greenfield.
Thank you.
She's been with this program since its inception.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah.
Or have Tom repeat it?
I'll say it again.
Carol Collins is an energy guru in Greenfield.
There you go. Well, she's the director of the Energy and Sustainability Department of Greenfield.
She is the head of the energy and
Sustainability.
utility department in Greenfield.
There you go.
Thank you, honey. That's my wife, by the way. That's why I called her. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so what is the anticipated lifetime of each of the LED lamps?
They say now for these LED lights that are coming out, 100,000 hours. Now there are 4,000 hours of darkness in a year. That means these lights should last 25 years. Seriously. Yeah.
So most of the maintenance, would be replacing lights. So
Yes.
probably maintenance would be super low until whatever the lifetime is. If it's 15 or 20 or 25, suddenly there'd be a lot of maintenance, but then it would go disappear for a while again.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a storm,
Well, there you
and
go.
lights out 50 and 20 lights. Eversource is gonna fix them for nothing.
And when's the last time 50 or so lights were wiped out in this town? Yeah, I don't either. I don't think so. I don't think so. And yes, the climate is changing, and we're seeing more storms. My area of expertise is in global climate change. I know about this. I'm really concerned about this. But I have to say that anyone that says half our lights are going to get knocked out, or even 10 of them at a time, well, that's probably, now, it used to be a 1,000-year storm. It's probably a 100-year storm now. So, yeah, maybe it could happen. Maybe a lot of things could happen, right? But let's look at the facts the way they are and the probability of what we're probably going to be facing. All right. With so many municipalities in Massachusetts now owning their streetlights, including many within our area, qualified companies will undoubtedly be vying for maintenance contracts that are less costly than Eversource's. LED streetlights now have an expected lifespan of 100,000 hours, or 25 years. You're one step ahead of me on that question. All right, cumulative savings. Let's just look at that for a minute. If it takes us 2 years to get to the point where we finally have our lights installed, if we go the Eversource route, we get those lights installed right away. We save $5,300 in year 1. By year 2, we have saved $10,600. By year 3, we've saved $15,900. Year 2 with our route, we haven't saved a dime. But by year 3, we have saved $11,000. And by year 4, we have caught up with the savings that we would have from the Eversource route. Yeah, Dave.
How does that work with the 55,000 over a 5-year period payback?
That I'm assuming. No, that's a good question. Dave asked, how does that fit in with the 55,000 that we have to pay up front? That 55,000 is still to be paid up front. If we get the grants from Green Communities, which we are really quite confident we can get, we wouldn't have that problem. By year 25, when these lights die, had we gone the Eversource route, we will have saved $132,500 in present day dollars. If we go the route that we're thinking about and encouraging, we would save about twice that amount, $253,000. Now, yeah.
So that means that even if our optimism about the $55,000 being paid for through grants, that we would still save a considerable amount of money even if we had to pay that $55,000.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, again, just looking at that table one last time. This savings per, yeah, okay, we've seen that table, but I want to add something because, going back for a minute, When we presented this to the Finance Committee and showed this table, one member of the Finance Committee said, well, okay, the difference there is in savings in year 25 is about $120,000. But, you know, in year 25, what's $120,000? You know, it's in so many words, negligible. But what he did not consider is that there is an inflation rate, and so the cost of everything goes up through time. And so let's assume a modest annual inflation rate of 3%. What we will have paid to Eversource by year 25 would be $385,530. If we went with the dimmable LEDs, we would have paid Eversource $154,212. Well, Eversource plus the maintenance with local maintenance. That's a net savings actually in 2025, not of about $100,000, but of about $250,000. This saves the town, everyone in the town that pays taxes, saves so much more by going with what we are advocating with the Energy Committee than if we go with the Eversource option. Well, okay, also consider, various studies show that LED streetlights are not as great as previously thought. According to the American Medical Association, there are two problems with LED streetlights. One is the possible discomfort and glare. The other is the effect on circadian rhythms of both humans and wildlife. We want to see the stars. Even in the town, we want to see the stars.
That's right.
Darksky.org recommends using LED streetlights with 3,000 Kelvin or lower. We're looking at the 3,000 Kelvin lights in our town. We want lower. 2,700, maybe 2,200. That's for everyone to decide after we've had a look at them.
Is that as low as it can go, 2,200?
Well, yeah, I think it is. I think it is, yeah. And that's, you know, that's as orange as the sodium vapor lights.
Yeah. After that, it's candles.
If
Yeah.
you go back to that previous slide, if you would,
Sure.
we live for some part of the year in Davis, California,
Uh-huh.
and there's a lot of other studies and restrictions and so on throughout California and through counties and municipalities. They found a number of things. This is a town of about 75,000 people. They also had to and did go through a LED conversion. But what they did was a number of other things, especially with the topic you're speaking about now, about night light. First of all, you can see that this light is maybe 25 feet tall. They lowered the lights to about 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
The other, so it's not about even the bulb now, just the fixture itself. The fixture itself is also wider, so it only projects not up as this does all over the place, but only down. The third thing is, it has a grill, like a, that you put in a ice cube maker.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the fins of this all point down or slightly along the line. So there's no glare at all into the adjacent buildings that are vertical and 20 feet away, 30 feet, 40 feet away. It's on the roadway and the walkway, so that in addition to the light itself, an enormous amount is the height and the structure of the appliance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in addition to the other studies that you've made, which are seemingly very compelling, at least to me, there's the other thing of the fixture that makes a huge difference.
Indeed, indeed. And that's why we need a lighting expert. You know, and I would love to find out from you, if you can find out from someone in Davis, what brand of light did they go with? That'd be great to know. I'm not, I don't know if Eversource would allow us, or even the state utilities would allow us to lower our street lights. They all seem to be up around 30 feet, just about anywhere we go. That might be fixed, but I like the idea of being able to lower them if we possibly can. Yeah, Jim.
How much of this is about the bulb itself and the adaptive functions of the light itself, the fixture itself?
There's so much associated with that. You know, if you go to Greenfield and look at their LED lights, they're so much better at keeping the lens array is such that it keeps the light right on the streets and the sidewalks. It goes very, very wide on the streets and sidewalks. And I have to say that there is a glare that I don't like about those lights. But it's a lot better than what we have now. Andrew.
Just going to say, by way of historical footnote, that we, as in the town of Shelburne, did do this process and designed our own street light that was lower with a brim, casting the light downward. And that was all done with a citizen planning committee over the course of about a year in 1995, when we had grant money to install the street lights in the commercial district that we have now. So we have precedent for having taken the actions that you're describing.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, those are charming lights. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so you've been focusing, for obvious reasons, on the economics of the whole situation. But, I mean, don't bury the fact that, I think the savings, the energy savings for this is something on the order of 750,000 kilowatt hours over the 25-year time period that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, I think that's important.
It's on the order of 350 tons of carbon per year.
And
How much? Say that again.
On the order of, I don't remember the exact number, Connie, but it's on the order of 350 tons per year. Carbon emission. And honestly, I also have to admit, I don't remember if that's carbon or carbon dioxide. But at any rate, absolutely. I mean, that's our main mission with the Energy Committee, is to lower our carbon footprint as much as we possibly can. But we, you know, if we're going to sell this to those who make the decision, we have to point out to them the incredible financial savings that comes along with it.
And the other comment I just wanted to make, and I think you haven't addressed this directly, but you know, cut-off lighting, which is to say lighting which does not in any way shine up, is super important, not necessarily for the pedestrian on the street, but just in terms of night sky darkness. I mean, we want to return to a dark night sky.
Darksky.org. But you know, this light that Eversource is offering has the BOG or BGO, whatever it is. The bug.
Yeah, up. U is for upper, the light that goes up. So we're looking at mostly lights that send no light up.
It's 101. You know, it's supposedly good in that regard. But when you look at it,
hopefully any of these options would be. But that's a very, it's also an important consideration.
We totally agree. We totally agree with that. Yeah. Okay. More than 100 municipalities in Massachusetts have undertaken LED streetlight replacement following the path that we are recommending. The long-term savings involved both in energy and money cannot be disputed. The mission of the Energy Committee is to lower the town's greenhouse gas emissions as much as possible, as rapidly as possible. Our generation owes this to our children and our grandchildren. We focus on reducing energy costs and maximizing savings. The question is, whose pocket do we want these savings to go into? Eversource's or we the taxpayers? And on that note, I'll stop talking and entertain any further questions you might have. Yeah, Connie.